balancing act. Ooh, not light.
What's up, my fellow builders? I'm Nick, and this is my channel, Build It with Nick. On today's episode, this is an exciting one. I'm gonna be showing you how I set these 22-foot long cedar beams that are gonna support these raised cedar trusses and all the cedar rafters that we're gonna cut in for this build. I'll also show you the type of fasteners that I use when I'm building a cedar pavilion like this and how I conceal the majority of them. This is a great one. This is the one that we've been waiting for. This is where we start to see the structure and the build start to come together and take shape and take form. If you're new to the channel, it would be a huge help if you subscribe, like the video, and if you want to be notified of any future content, give that bell icon some love too. That's it for me today. Let's go build it with Nick. All right, getting my 2x6s set. These are gonna support the beams against the wall here. And setting these beams wasn't difficult by myself. As you can tell, I just kind of scooted along the beams there that were already set. Left the bracing up, used some clamps and held it in place, and then I used the timber locks to screw it down into the column there. Same thing on the other side. The ridge beam, which I'm about to set next, these are 22 feet long, so between the 1 foot overhang in the back, it makes it all the way to the middle truss there, or what will be the middle truss. And then I needed another 12-footer 4x6 to finish up the length of the ridge beam. So just getting ready to get this in position.
Okay, here we go. Ties are on, we're all braced up, we're level, we're plumb. Tie over there is all braced up, plumb. So now we're just going to strategically put this ridge beam in place.
And again, cedar's not heavy relative to its size, so it was manageable. Once you get all your ties braced up and level and plumb, this was pretty simple. So that 2x4 just spanned across the two ties there, and plenty of support for it. And so I just screwed it down into the ties, again using my timber locks. Just constantly making sure, get my overhang, make sure it's level. And I set 2 screws through the top of each tie. And I just finish it up here. That 12-footer goes into place really easily. Fasten it. And now the structure is ready for the rafters, which I'm going to talk about next. And the mistake I made on my, well, the back rafters went well. On the trusses there, as you can see, I've already got the one truss done. But here in the right corner, the bottom right corner, there's a video of me cutting, a quick video of me cutting in the truss there, the rafter, and this is where I screwed up. Now you can see I just used my cordless skill saw and sawzall, and it works fine. You just got to, slow down, make your cuts nice and clean. But right there where I made that bird's mouth, I'm about to find out why I messed up, and you can tell that was my first cut of the day. And if you look, I got it up there. You can see that it's already not going to work. And I'm looking at it kind of funny, kind of determine what's going on here. Why isn't this thing working or fitting? And I get it up and I'm like, uh-oh, it's not going up to the ridge beam. What's going on here? And that's when I realized, oh no, I messed up this cut.
Didn't cut my bird's mouth at an angle. And here's the 6x6 I screwed up. I cut the bird's mouth. Instead of, when I came down the truss here, this was my mark. I should have started my bird's mouth here. Instead, I came straight down, started my cut here, ran my 4-inch seat cut back to this. This is what happens whenever I'm rushing to the job, I'm checking emails, responding to text messages, and the first cut I gotta make is on this $205 cedar truss, and it's a mistake. It cost me $200. I'll try to repurpose the 6x6 for something else, but it became pretty worthless from here back and the top part at the angle. It's incredibly expensive compared to dimensional lumber, so it doesn't give you a lot of second chances. Or it doesn't give you any second chances. No lumber gives you second chances, but particularly hard on your wallet whenever you're making mistakes like that. So just nice reminder to slow down, get your mind on the project, and focus on what needs to be done and make the correct cuts when it comes to this type of material, and you won't be as frustrated as I was yesterday. Just want to show you how I'm securing these trusses and these beams to everything, or how I'm kind of doing my best to conceal the fasteners. You can see up here I have 8-inch long timber screws that I'm running through the top of the truss on these 6x6s. I did the same thing right here for the 4x6. When I set the 4x6s on top of these 6x6 columns, I ran another 2 8-inch long timber locks is what they're called, through this beam here down into this column, through the top here, and then ran these down through the top here. And then what I did on this side, you can kind of maybe see it inside here. I've got 2 more 8-inch timber locks that I toe-nailed in from this beam here down into this beam. So everything's interlocked. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 8-inch timber locks just right here in this corner. And then up there at the top, it's the same thing. 2 8-inch long timber locks through the ridge beam down to the tie. Then I've got 2 8-inch timber locks going through the beam that direction, 2 coming this direction, and then I got 2 8-inch timber locks coming up through the bottom here, this bottom cord of this truss, through the bottom into that tie. And that's about the only place that I couldn't really get away with not concealing the timber locks. You can see them right here. Everything's coming down from the top. No toe nailing, no coming in from the side. And I'm doing the same thing with the rafters. 1 8-inch timber lock through the top of the rafter. And then when I'm running this side up there, I'm actually bringing the 8-inch long timber lock. What I do when I set that whole side over there, I went in from this side of the ridge beam all the way into this rafter. When I set this side, I toe nail in this timber lock on the top side, push all the way through the rafter, the ridge beam, and then tie it into this rafter on the other side here. So just kind of get it straight, toe nail it in. This one, get her set. Eight-inch long timber locks. You don't necessarily have to pre-drill with cedar. Cedar's a pretty soft wood. It's not susceptible to splitting when you're actually screwing these big long screws through there. Sometimes, depending on how brittle it might feel or might seem the wood is, you may want to pre-drill it, but this is going to go in such a long way. They're well designed to where you don't have to, and actually that's their claim on the boxes, no pre-drilling. But I've never had to worry about that with cedar. Let's talk about how I'm laying out these rafters and these trusses as far as how I'm getting my seat cut, or what they call the bird's mouth, and getting the entire rafter to look clean and tight like that against this support beam down here. This is my diagram that I'm running. Most of the rafters are falling into this just nicely. I've had to make a couple corrections. And how I did this, I'm not a mathematician, I'm not a wizard with this. Actually, there's a site called blocklayer.com, and you can put all your calculations into it. I'll link that here in the video. And I found that to be an incredibly useful tool when it comes to laying out some more of the less common things that we run. This is what they call common rafters. But this is not a common structure or common build. We're not running a 3.5 inch top plate, and we're running different dimensional lumber. This is actually true 6x6. This isn't even like a normal 2x6 would be a 5.5 inches or tall, however you want to describe it. These actually come in just 5 3/4, 5 5/8, sometimes 5 7/8. They're really uniquely cut. What I do is I take all the calculations that I have here with the layout of the build, plug it into that website, and it gives me every number and dimension that I would need in order to come up with this here, which is the cuts, the measurements I need to make my cuts. So, made another mistake. This time I caught it before it got too big. It was too big of a mistake. Let me see if you can take a guess what's going on here. Can you see? What do you see? This is a architectural smooth cut cedar. And I personally loaded those up this morning myself. And again, head not in the right place. I put 18 of these on the buggy, rolled right out the front door, and got to work on it. But thankfully, I only screwed up 3 this time. Well, I didn't screw them up. They're actually cut really well and fit up there real nicely. They just don't match. And I was gonna try to live with it. I can't live with it. So I'm gonna take these down. I'm gonna try to see if the ones that I cut yesterday that were messed up will fit in here okay. And if they do, that's a nice relief, because at least I've got two to solve the problem. But anyway, either way, these 3 right here are pretty useless as far as using them for rafters. I may try to use them in the back. I could probably get away with them in the back. But here I need, it all to match. It sucks because it's a break in the day. I got to load up, actually head all the way back down to San Marcos, which is 20 minutes away, 25 minutes away from here. But it chips into the day. I was hoping to get this pretty much wrapped up today as far as the rafters go, but those kind of things happen. Oh man, I ran out of timber locks. Or didn't run out. Just gotta go get more.